Hi, I'm Brandy. This is Hound Dog Hollow, and today I'm going to be doing hashtag Season of the Witch. It's a VR to Beanbag Hagwag, and I believe she said that the original creator was the Woodland Hag, but I'm not 100%. I will leave it below in the description box. So, number one, in what way do you choose to identify? And there was options, but I didn't write them down. So basically, I'm an eclectic witch or eclectic pagan. Probably eclectic witch would be the closest thing. I hope someday just to be a wise woman. But I don't think I have enough wisdom yet. Yeah. Number two, what does my daily practice look like? So I have been sick and I have been traveling and I'm jet lagged. But typically, I wake up, I write down my dreams. I jot down where the sun, moon, and planets are, including retrogrades and signs. Then if I have time, I will do my card draw for my 2 moon decks then. But sometimes I don't have time, so I do it in the evening. Go about my day, if the weather's good and I'm feeling okay and I got up on time, I will go for a morning walk, and I feel like that is pretty spiritual because I try to notice the smells and the plants, any animals, nature, the sky, sun coming up, if there's a crescent moon really visible. I try to take in the nature, and I feel like that is part of a major tenet for my spiritual practice, which is presence. I work, and you heal people. So I do have smudge sprays, and to help clear off some of the energy because it's intense. So that's part of my practice, and all the million little things that go into healing people and taking care of people, which are small magics that I couldn't name if I tried. But your words are powerful, and so are your actions. And especially people who are vulnerable and sick, feel them. And so you're putting a lot out there. When I get home, I'm pretty saturated. So I will usually have a meal with my family and kind of relax. I do a lot of journaling in the evening. If I didn't do my card drawers in the morning, I do them in the evening. If it's a full or a new moon, I have a ritual bath. Sometimes I have a ritual bath anyway because I just need it after my day. That on my work days, on my days off, I will sometimes do, a candle spell if I need to. A lot of journaling, a lot of reading, a lot of learning. Constant incense, constant candles. I like to elevate the space in that way. And being present all the time. Those are basically the things that I do every day. So, what do I do for self-care? So I listed a couple of those things. I try to, keep my energy clear. I try to let go of things that are, as an empath, negative stuff can stick to you. And especially, with such high emotions going around, so I try to let that stuff go. I try to cleanse myself of that, and that's a major thing for self-care. I'm trying to drink more tea and eat more fruits and vegetables to get some more nutrients. I do a lot of ritual bathing. Even in the shower, I think about letting the water wash away what negative has stuck with me. I do visualizations about grounding my spine into the earth. I particularly try to use whatever energies is present in the day. So like on windy days, wind can help clear negativity from you. Smells. I try to be positive, and I think that's a big part of self-care. Because most of my my main things that weigh on me are emotional, are overwhelm, are spiritual and psychic vampires. And so protecting myself is a major aspect of my self-care. Do I need to do more self-care? Yes. Am I working on it? Soon. 4. What do I do to take care of nature, wildlife, the environment, or animals? So I have lots of animals, and I care for them for as long as they live. There's no giving up an animal in my house. My dogs and cat and tortoise will be with me until they die. The tortoise is going to be in my will after I die, because he's gonna live way longer than me and probably longer than my son. So for animals, we steward our animals. We feed our animals. Feeding our animals also feeds the local birds. So we have tons of doves, woodpeckers, finches, starlings, blue jays, etc. We have 3 acres, so we steward our land. My husband does a lot of work maintaining it, and we're getting better at growing our own food and herbs and flowers, especially early in the season to help pollinators, to help bees, but also I'm not going to get into the thing with like what's a real witch and what's a real pagan and what's all this other bullshit. I don't care. Whatever you do, you do. But my personal opinion is that one of the main things that causes pollution and stress on our environment is how your food gets to you, semi-trucks and planes and boats. So if you can eat local, it's better for your neighbors because you're supporting their businesses. It's better for the environment because you're growing plants for beneficial insects and wildlife. And it's better for you because the food's right there in your yard and you get a new appreciation of something that you had to grow. So we are working, every year we get a bigger garden and a bigger garden and a bigger garden, which has been great. It still is not enough to feed us. So sometimes we do a CSA, which is community sourced agriculture. I'm trying not to do that because then they just bring me whatever vegetables they have and I'm picky. So we go to the farmer's market every week and we try to buy there. I like to buy my meat from the local butcher and local farms. And, I don't throw anything away. We recycle and repurpose almost everything. We don't even have trash service. We go to the dump when we need to. We camp and go out in nature, and it's part of our thing is that we always leave it better than we find it. And so, unfortunately, a lot of times we'll get to campsites and they'll be completely trashed, and so it takes a lot of time to clean it up, to pick up the bottles and the cigarettes and the trash and diapers. Oh my God, so much garbage. It's awful. Before we can even use our campsite, and then we bless it and we leave it clean. There's a lot. There's a lot. It's a huge question, and I don't want to spend too much more time on it. A lot. Number 5, how do you help heal or support humanity? This one's another huge thing. I'm a nurse, and I'm going to school to be a nurse practitioner. I'm a healer. I heal people, and I help the sick every single day. I'm intensely involved in my community, not just through my work, but extensive volunteering with all sorts of organizations. But also, I'm an active citizen. I vote, I study up, I advocate, and in my own community, if I see something, I say something. If you're doing wrong, or if you need help, or if anything at all in the community, I'm gonna say something to you. Usually nice. Try to be helpful, but I believe that actively participating and being an actual community takes a lot of work. And one of the things that I saw in China that was really nice is it's a very collectivist culture. So for example, one of the people on our tour blew his nose and threw his tissue on the ground, and just a Chinese person who was just there came by and picked it up and threw it away, because it was so clean. I'll get to that in another video. It was so clean everywhere. People are constantly cleaning up and throwing things away and just sweeping, so much sweeping. And it's this different attitude of like, it's everybody's responsibility to keep things clean. These are our shared spaces, and it's everybody's responsibility. And I feel like we don't have that as much as I would like here. And so I try to do that. My family tries to do that, and I feel like that's another way that we support humanity. But another one, again, that's a huge topic. Number 6, what is my understanding of a higher power? This stack's full of really intense questions. Okay, so when I was watching the video to write down my the questions for this tag, me and my husband briefly talked about this. I can't speak to what his experience is, but for me, there's a higher power. There's divine or source or whatever deity that is too much for human beings to understand. And so the best way that we can understand it, I believe, is through masculine or directive force and feminine or receptive force. So polarity. I do subscribe to the feeling that there is like child or universe, just neutral energy, but that's a whole different thing. It's a very small part. I think that 90% is these two opposing forces, and our perception is just a reflection of ourselves and our cultures, of how we see these forces in our lives, or as deities, and how we connect to that and what we value. So I was raised with God and the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ as the face of God, but I've come to understand that that's just one face of God, of the directive energy. That's just one force of this masculine directive energy. There's tons of other perceptions of it, everything from the Green Man to Thor to Ra to just the plain old pure sun, and for goddess as well. So that's just my understanding of it, in a very, very brief, condensed blurb. Number 7, what is the most important life lesson I have learned so far? There's been a lot of life lessons, and 2 things. Let's see. 2 things, because I'm a cheater. Okay, so first, a quote by Lao Tzu. Being deeply loved gives you... Loving someone deeply gives you strength, but being deeply loved gives you courage. So that is a great lesson. Make of that what you will, but excellent words by Lao Tzu. But also, the other lesson is, if you think you can, that things are going to work out, that everything's going to be okay, that you are blessed, that you have lots to live for, that you are going to succeed, or if you think that everything is terrible, you are so, you have nothing, you are destitute, you're impoverished, everything is terrible, you cannot succeed, whatever you think, you're right. We make our reality. Perception is a large, overwhelmingly large portion of our reality. And when you think, what you think is what you are and what you create. So if you think you can, if you think things are going to be okay, if you think, if you have gratitude, and if you come from a place of blessing and abundance, and perceiving yourself to have agency, and that you can manifest an intent and create your reality, then you will. And if you can't think that way, then you won't. And that's harsh, but it's true. And it's true. It has been true to me repeatedly, because even in the healthcare field, you try to help people, but nothing will happen until they decide to help themselves, and that they are going to access your care, and that they're gonna do what they need to do. I cannot feed people. I cannot make people do what they don't want to do. I mean, you really have a lot of power. a lot of power to create your reality the way that you want. Don't you ever forget it. Number 8. And how does this learned lesson affect my values and attitudes? I try to be positive. I try my best to speak positively, to think positively, to not doubt. One of our favorite mantras, our favorite spiritual exercises in this house is I inhale confidence and I exhale doubt. That's great. I feel it leaving me. And I try to spread that to others. I try to, especially when I hear self-defeating language, you don't have to tell yourself that story anymore. You don't have to, that doesn't have to be the way that it is. Just because things have been like that in the past doesn't mean that you have to keep doing it. Doesn't mean that it has to still be that way. At any second, at any moment, we can change our future. We can change it. Number 9. What is my most spooky experience? I don't want to talk about this. It's nighttime. But I will suffice to say that I had an experience with a black mirror when I'm probably 19. I don't know. Probably 19. In my dorm in the military. And something haunted me for a while. A hooded man. It never said anything, and it never hurt me, but I was so afraid. It followed me for a while, and of course then I couldn't sleep. It was a lot. I don't want to talk about it. It was a lot, and I've been terrified of them ever since. But I got a whole bunch in October, and I feel like it's kind of like universe saying, it's okay, that's gone, and you're stronger now. You don't have to be afraid, and there's something that somebody wants to tell me. So that's why I'm kind of been getting into the ancestral and shadow work to make sure that I am rock solid before I try this again. 10. Have I ever cursed or hexed anyone? Yeah. I don't think I've consciously done it, but I do believe that you curse people and you hex them all the time. I have consciously done it. When you give somebody the evil eye, you are giving them the evil eye. When I give somebody the side eye, I mean it. And that's a curse. That's a hex. So be careful. And when you curse somebody, or when you wish them ill, or when you say bad things about them, those are curses, because your words have power. So yeah, I think everybody has. That's why I don't call myself a good witch or a white witch. I mean, I try. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. But at the same time, I will give somebody the side eye. And I have resting bitch face. And I curse. So I think those are things that we do. And I'm trying to be more conscious about it. But definitely, I think that we all do. 11. If I could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? The Pacific Northwest, hand down, favorite place in the world. And I've crossed the world, and I've enjoyed other places, but there's nothing like coming home. And I love the Pacific Northwest. I live in Oregon now. I might live in Alaska, and I've lived in Washington, and I like that too. But the Pacific Northwest is the best place in the world, in my honest opinion. Anyways, this is really long. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.